Hey folks, it's Matt once again, and welcome back to another review. And doing these Jean-Claude Van Damme movie reviews, it's nice to finally get to one of my personal favorites, Universal Soldier. Now, Universal Soldier was made in 1992, and this is a pretty good DVD. It's one of the only DVDs for a Jean-Claude Van Damme film that has features. Has a commentary track with director Roland Emmerich. You have Dean Devlin, who's one of the writers and who's worked with Roland Emmerich. He was an actor in Moon 44, and he's gone to work with him in Stargate and Independence Day and such. You have little bits from Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren in the commentary, but not much. It's mainly Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin, but they do a good job. Fun commentary. You have an alternate ending, which was horrible, which I'll get into. You have two featurettes, Guns, Jeans, and Fighting Machines, The Making Universal Soldier, where they interview these two guys, as well as the director, Roland Emmerich, and also Dean Devlin. Then another featurette, A Tale of Two Titans, which these two give a little bit of their history. And I love this film. I love this film. I have no problems with this film. I think this film's great. I think it's awesome. I definitely think it's the best Universal Soldier film. I love the character Luke Devereaux by Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's one of my favorite characters that he played. I think Dolph Lundgren, this is one of my favorite performances, is Sergeant Andrew Scott, because Dolph Lundgren is having such a ball with this role. So much fun. I mean, for fuck's sake, he gets to have a necklace of human ears. God damn it, the whole fucking platoon is dropping like flies. A lot of great scenes for Dolph to be batshit crazy, and he does a wonderful job. And that's why I hated seeing Regeneration and Day of Reckoning. Oh, Dolph, he could just be cloned and popped in there and spouting stupid questions as if he's taking the test in Blade Runner to see if he's a fucking replicant or not. And then Van Damme, oh, he regresses, he's gaining humanity, but then Regeneration, they just regress him to a zombie again. And then Day of Reckoning, he's a fucking bad guy, ripping off Marlon Brando from Apocalypse Now. Might as well call him Kurtz. And then dying, but it doesn't matter because we just clone everybody and shit. I hate those two. And I'll get to those down the road. Yeah, a couple good action scenes, whoop-de-fucking-do. I think the stories in those films suck because I love this movie. I don't like that this character got turned back into a zombie and then became a fucking bad guy, pretty much Kurtz, and then dies. I don't understand that thinking. I'm sorry. But I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about this. But I do love this film. This was such a big movie for me when I was a kid. And I still enjoy it to this day. I even remember when the VHS came out, there was a sweepstakes. And I think it must have been on the rental copy. Because I think one of the prizes was Universal Soldier video cassette. I forget the actual terms of the sweepstakes. But even as a kid in 1992, I had seen these guys' films on VHS. Granted, I was young. I was probably around 9 years old or 10 years old. But even by then, I was watching Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. I was watching I Come in Peace. I was watching The Punisher. I was watching Bloodsport and Death Warrant and so on. So I'm like, wow, these two are getting together in a movie? They don't fight each other? And I really enjoy the teaser as well as the trailer, which they used the music from Terminator 2. The teaser where the two red lights are coming together. Bow, bow. And then when they meet, it explodes and all this action happens. The future has a bad attitude. I like that. That's a good tagline. I just am such a huge fan of this movie. And I know these comparisons to Terminator, but that's really stupid in my opinion, because this has nothing to do with Terminator. They're not robots. They're not machines. At all. Pretty much this is a high-tech zombie movie. And there's no time travel. So why the fuck is it compared to Terminator? Even some of the critics who bashed it They compared the Terminator. It has nothing to do with Terminator. What about this is Terminator-like? Please tell me. Because it's an action guy a la Arnold, and it's hard to stop them. Wow, that's really vague. Because they used Terminator 2 in this trailer? Is that why? It's a guy or girl, and a guy's chasing them. Well, technically not. It's Dolph Lundgren and all the other Unisouls and the scientists chasing them. And yeah, we've never seen a movie where a guy and a girl gets chased by someone. Throw a rock, you'll hit an action film that's done that. So the Terminator comparisons are really stupid. It has nothing to do with Terminator. But I thought it was a really good story. I thought it was a great story. Sorry about that, folks. It was such a good story that my fucking camera stopped recording. It was so mind-blown by the story. But I do think this... Sorry about that little weird edit. But I thought this was a really good story. I still think this is a really good story. Yeah, these two guys who, at the beginning of the film, are in Vietnam. Van Damme comes across one of his comrades who says that the Sarge lost it, everyone's dead. He did a quick blinking you miss a role by Michael Jai White, who would be in Universal Soldier The Return, and among many other films. But you did Michael Jai White in that, which I thought was pretty cool. And Van Damme goes into the village where Dolph Lundgren is apeshit crazy. He's making a necklace out of human ears. And he's talking about how they wouldn't listen. And about how everyone's a traitor and how he can't trust anyone anymore. And then starts to question Van Damme, are you a traitor, farm boy? And Van Damme's like, no. Because before that, Van Damme goes, I just want to go home, Sarge. You just want to go away just like the others. You just want to make that none of this happen? Well, it happened! And you don't just walk away, do you hear me? He even takes the necklace of ears. Do you hear me? You traitor too, aren't you, farm boy? No. Then prove it. Wasted goop traitor motherfucker. That's an order! Just shoots the poor guy, and then the girl tries to run, and Van Damme hits Dolph and tries to help her. He gets hurt. Dolph throws a grenade, kills the girl. Van Damme gets pissed, gets his gun, which has a bayonet, shoves it right into Dolph, and not only shoves it, but gives a nice twist with a nice squish sound, just a twist. And then they both shoot each other and kill each other. Not many action films start off with your two leads killing each other off. It was a really interesting way to start off. And also you see that Van Damme, at the beginning of the film, he's not acting like a robot. He's not acting like a machine. He's not acting like a zombie. Probably the best way to put it. But then when they're Unisouls, you see that they are very emotionless, very zombie, in their zombie state. But you see their emotions at the beginning of the film, and then as the film goes on, you see more and more of their emotions until you get to the end, and their emotions flow out, which I appreciate. I thought that was done well. I think Roland Emmerich did a great job. I'll stand by this statement. This is my favorite Roland Emmerich film. I enjoy Independence Day and such, but this is my all-time favorite Roland Emmerich film. I don't know if he was going to do Isobar and then that fell through and he did this, or was he going to do Isobar after this, or I don't know what happened. I know Roland Emmerich at one time was going to do this film called Isobar starring Sylvester Stallone and I believe Kim Basinger and Belushi, and it was going to have Rick Baker's effects. It was going to be a plant-like creature and this supersonic train, and that never happened because Carrico went out of business. But this was produced by Mario Casar, so I don't know the whole timeline. But I'm glad that this was made. And then pretty much once they're killed, someone goes pack them in ice. And I love the way the opening titles are set up, where Van Damme's body gets zipped up in a body bag. Then you have his name come up. Then Dolph Lundgren and his name come up. And I thought the way the titles were done were actually kind of creepy. With the... I'm doing a shitty job of it. But Christopher Frank, who's gone on to do a lot of TV and such, I thought he did a great job with the score. I think the score fits the film perfectly like a glove. I just love the way that, I don't know, it just seemed like a creepy vibe with the way the titles happen. I liked it. And the rest of the film is a great action score. Again, it fits the film like a glove. I just love the idea that the government, they're taking dead soldiers and they're making them, pumping them up, and as it says here, genetically enhanced to be unstoppable killing machines without memory, feelings, or free will. And I like that idea. I think that's a really cool idea. And we're in present time. They go and do a mission where there's hostages at this dam, and you see that the soldiers are very efficient, extremely efficient. They're stronger, they're faster. They can even they're rappelling down the dam with ease. Come up across the bad guys, just take them out really quickly. And you see a little semblance of Dolph's crazy state when he killed a guy. Even though the guy's dead on the ground, he kicks the guy in the head for good measure. And I let one of the scientists go, "Oh, I think homeboy's enjoying this shit." Don't be ridiculous. And again, they efficiently take out these bad guys who have these hostages, if I could say the word right. I forget the guy's name. I think it's Ralph Moeller. That's one of the Unisouls. Could be wrong. He comes up, he's walking, he's got this tray as if he's going to repair something. The bad guys tell him to stop. He gets shot to shit, Ralph Moeller, and then he comes up, shoots the bad guy right in the head, and Van Damme and Dolph come around the corner, headshot, headshot. Definitely an R-rated film. Definitely get quite a few headshots in the flick. Practical blood squibs. It's hard to say that, and the fact that that's going to be praised. Nowadays, they won't do that. If they did it, it would look like shit, or it'd be shitty CGI. So, the simple things that you take for granted that they don't do it nowadays. It's fucking sad, but it's true. And I believe two of the hostages, I don't know why I have a hard time saying that word. The hostages, I believe they used the two same actors that we saw in the Vietnam sequence in the beginning, where you have these two that Van Damme makes them think back and gain a memory back about what happened in Vietnam, and turns to Dolph and has this look on his face. And that's where, okay, there's something's going on with this. And in the meantime, you have this reporter, Ally Walker, who I thought Ally Walker did a great job. I thought she was very likable. She wasn't annoying. She wasn't aggravating. She was a very likable lady. And her and her cameraman, she really wants to get this story, and little sequence where she's kind of talking back to her boss. She gets fired, and she's like, okay, I'm going to get this story. Follows these guys who have the Universal Soldier Program, have had another successful mission. She follows them. And pretty much, I like the way that they work with these Unisouls, where they have this chamber and this badass looking truck. Very cool looking armored truck. Where inside, pretty much they burn out real quick. So they have to be cooled down, otherwise they shut down. So they gotta be cooled down in these chairs. And then also they have these injections that come up and zap them right in the back of their head. And it's always like, ew, whoa, shit. But looks really cool too. I think Tiny Lister Jr. Zeus is one of the Unisouls. He doesn't have any dialogue or anything, but I believe that's him. And then they're trying to talk to Van Damme and say, no, you're confused. Oh, but he may be regaining his memory. No, just keep him in there. Just give him the injection. Don't worry about it. And then at the same time, Ally Walker finds Ralph Moeller's dead body, but he's not dead. He's resting. He's healing himself. He even wakes up. And that's where the military and scientists find out that they're there. And stop the girl. Get the footage from the camera, the pictures she took. Because they know that there's Universal Soldiers, but they don't know that they're dead soldiers that were brought back to life. They don't know that it was that. And then when they stop them, one thing leads to another, and Dolph shoots the cameraman, a la what happened at the beginning when he went crazy and shot the guy in the village. And Van Damme again remembers that, beats the fuck out of Dolph, gets the lady, gets out of there. One thing leads to another, and they get the fuck out of there. And another thing that's great about this, it does have some really good action sequences, which I'll get to. I think these two do a very capable job in the leads. I think it has a good supporting cast. Edo Ross as the head military guy of the program. Jerry Orbach, which we see later in the film. I think everyone did fine. Again, I think Roland Emmerich, for the low budget that he had, he used it very efficiently. He used it very well. Does look like a good budgeted flick that would have been in theaters. Would love to have seen this in theaters. Unfortunately, I did not. And it's one of those films that has a good sense of humor as well. And it's on purpose. Even a little bit where Ali Walker goes, "Oh, you've been shot," and he puts the cigarette lighter thing and takes it out and just puts it in there without any feeling. The bleeding has stopped. And when the vehicle has run out of gas, Van Damme goes around and just pushes the whole thing. Shows how strong these suckers are. Just pushes the whole damn truck until they get to this motel. And like I was saying with the humor, Van Damme realizes he's got to cool down, so he's taking off his clothes, and then his mission for him is to protect Ali Walker. And when Ali Walker goes out, he's walking out bare-ass naked, going, "You have to return to your room." And she turns around and goes, "Why are you naked?" And he pretty much says, "I gotta cool down," and just passes out. And the look that he gives when right before he passes out, really fun look. And it's one of those things that I thought that was a cool idea, that sort of their Achilles heel is that they have to cool down. In fact, when Van Damme does get cooled down in the bathtub with all this ice, you see that the wound actually heals itself. Pretty decent effect that they did there. But you also get some nice little stuff. They don't go overboard with the drama, which you didn't need to, which was a problem with the alternate ending, is that this was a fun action movie, and then the alternate ending, it made it seem like it went into terms of endearment, steel magnolias, fried green tomatoes shit. I was like, what the fuck are you doing with this now? Which I'm glad they went back and changed the ending. Definitely for the better. But I was saying some nice bits, for example, when Van Damme's healed up and getting dressed up, he's looking at the TV and he sees Richard Nixon, an older Richard Nixon. Now, of course, last time he was alive was in Vietnam days where Nixon was young, but now he sees the TV and older Nixon and looks at himself. Some nice subtle stuff. It doesn't need to be overboard. Some nice subtle stuff is appreciated as well. And then pretty much one thing leads to another, and the Unisouls get there. They fuck up the entire motel, level the place with firepower after firepower. It's like the scene in Predator where they just level the fucking jungle. Here, the Unisouls just level the entire fucking motel. But then again, you get that little bit of humor, because after Van Damme's being a badass, crashing through wall after wall after wall, but he can't go through this last one, so him and the girl have to hide under the covers of this couple. And then just this weird, funny scene where Van Damme has to hold a gun on the guy, says, "I need your keys." Then Ali Walker tells him, "Say hurry, hurry." Gets the keys. "Thank you." Just some of the deadpan stuff that Van Damme says is pretty funny. And then they get out of there. But you can get some nice firepower work in there. You don't have tons and tons of wall-to-wall fights, I will admit that, but it was fine. It was fine for this film, because I was getting to the story, I liked the characters, liked the score, it went at a good pace, it's not that long of a film, it's definitely an R-rated flick, and just very highly entertaining. I mean, when Dolph is going more and more crazy, for example, later on when they get them at this gas station, and all hell has broken loose, And Ida Ross is telling Dolph to get in the truck. And Dolph goes, "My name is Sergeant Andrew Scott." Ida Ross tries to shoot him, but don't fuck with Dolph because he just pulls that gun out. Boom! Right in the eye. Pew! Shot right through the eye. And I like the effect they do where the glass breaks and a bunch of red covers that piece of the eyeglasses. I was like, did they do that effect? I thought that was really cool. And then Dolph comes in, talks to the scientists, they're asking for someone, and Dolph just sets a bunch of ears. "He can't hear you. I'm command from now on." And these guys try to fuck with Dolph some more. And Dolph just grabs a guy, pushes his hand right through the helmet, the protection gear he has, and just almost like just crushes his face, gouges his eyes, shoots a couple right in the head, and then just wiping the blood off his shirt, and just goes, "Any questions?" He's just such a great bad guy in this. But before that scene happens, you have some fun little bits of dialogue. For example, she says, one scene throughout the film, "I'd kill for a cigarette," and he goes, "You would really kill someone for a cigarette?" So no, it's just manner of speaking. It's just I wouldn't really kill one, at least not right now. Or the scene where they get to the gas station and Van Damme realizes he probably has a tracking device, so he strips himself, and she goes, "Oh man, not again! Do you have to take your clothes off again?" And then he tells her there must be a tracking device inside of me. That's why they keep following us and finding us. Grabs her hand, presses to his body, and says, "Look for something hard." Just deadpan, and then just Ali Walker's expression. You don't see what's going on, but you get the idea. And Van Damme looks down. "Is that supposed to be there?" "Oh yeah. She's like, "Yeah, that's good. It's very nice. It's really good." Keep going. She's like, "Oh brother." And then later on, when she gets the little piece of the where the spot is, he tells her to cut, and she's like, "Well, I don't want to cut you. I don't want to hurt you." And he just stabs right into his leg and just cuts it apart. And he's like, "Take it." Not that loud, but he's like, "Take it." She's like, "Take it? Take it? Oh shit, gross. Oh god, I gotta lie down after she takes it out." I thought some fun bits of stuff there. Also later on, which I know I'm jumping ahead, but I gotta talk about. Well, I'll get to that because you get another little fun action scene, good pyrotechnics where the Unisouls get there again, but you realize that Van Damme and the girl have outsmarted them because they go into the gas station and garage, but it blows up and takes out a bunch of the Unisouls. A bunch of them are on fire, and Van Damme and the girl were hiding over here in safety, and then they get in their car and Dolph grabs them. They're struggling. Van Damme hits the brake. Dolph dives right through the windshield, falls to the ground, and this is one of the early instances where you see that Dolph is gaining back his memory, because it was this scene or the scene before, I forget. One of them he says, "Traitor," and then that's where you get the Dolph being a badass, shooting Edo Ross in the eye, killing a bunch of these scientists. Any questions? Later on, there's another guy who tries to, when Dolph is in the chair, stick him with that needle that goes in the back, and he switches it around, puts his face in there, and the needle comes up and goes right out of the guy's cheek. Nice little effect. Thought that was nicely done. And then even later on, he's collected another ear necklace, and he tosses these guys, and they're giving him shit. And Dolph, just cool, like, kiss this guy, kiss this guy, kiss this guy, with his hands behind his back, and just lifted his leg, kicking each of these guys right in the face. And then starts threatening this little guy, going, "Does that refresh your memory?" And when the guy sees the necklace, he's like covering his ears. And he has some great stuff going on. Each of these characters have great stuff going on with them. Like the next set with Van Damme, where she shows him the wonders of eating at a diner. At this point, she just wants to get the story, trying to figure out who we can call to help you out. This is where it's going to lead to them talking to Jerry Orbach. But she needs to make a phone call, and she says, oh yeah, order something. You order this special. But when she's done, Van Damme keeps ordering and eating it. And the cook and the waitress are complaining that, you know, are you going to pay? And he doesn't know what's going on. So I don't know. And, well, I was spent, you know, a lot of fucking hard hours making that slop. And Van Damme's like, the food is good. Fucking A is good. Blah, 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 blah. And then Van Damme goes, I don't want to hurt you. And they laugh at him. And then Van Damme just wants to eat. Let the fucking guy eat. But then he kicks everyone's ass. He kicks this guy's ass, kicks this guy's ass with, you know, his feet, with his fist. Choke the guy out, just slamming him right. He's eating popcorn. He's trying to eat popcorn. They won't leave him alone. He's eating a sandwich. And then he looked at him. Listen, just want to eat. That always cracked me up. I just want to eat. Just let the motherfucker eat. He's kicking your ass. He's put a mud hole in your ass. Let him fucking eat. Okay? Or he's going to put more mud holes in your ass. And it ends with him just throwing a motherfucker right through the window. And she's asking, hey, how was lunch? And Van Damme just smiles. And that's what I mean. You get a little bit more of him regaining his humanity, and I like that. And it's done subtle. It doesn't have to be in your face. Hey, do you get it? Yes, I can get it for myself. I'm not that dumb. Thank you very much. But anyway. But that was a nice bit. Another nice bit is, while going on with Dolph's story, one of the scientists got Ralph Muller to hold this grenade, but unfortunately it held the guy's hand as well. Blows up the inside of the truck, and Dolph has a great scene where he's pulling a bunch of Unisols into the supermarket to try to cool them down. And he has this great speech where all these people are just watching him. And Dolph just has this wonderful speech. I love it. God damn it, the whole fucking platoon's dropping like flies. What the hell are you staring at? Do you have any idea what it's like out there? Do you? Well, I'm fighting this thing, man. It's like kick ass or kiss ass. And I'm busting heads. It's the only way to win this motherfucking war. Actually, he doesn't say mother. It's the only way to win this fucking war. And these shitheads, these yellow traitoring motherfuckers, they're everywhere. And I, Sergeant Andrew Scott of the U.S. Army, I'm going to teach them all. And then the cops come in, he just headshots all of them. And he goes, you see? They're everywhere. You just get some great stuff. And yeah, this stuff with him and the reporter talking to Jerry Orbach, and they get some info about the backstory of the Unisol program, where then you get to Ali Walker's gonna go away and get her story, but then she stays and Van Damme smiles, but then you realize that the cops are there and they arrest them both because they think they're murderers and such, and because the assholes had made up this story that the reporter had killed her cameraman and all this other bullshit. And then they're going in the prison bus, and you get another great scene, great, wonderful chase sequence where Dolph just shoots the shit out of the guards. It's like, hey, you better look at your driver, man. He ain't looking so hot. And just throwing grenades at the bus. Some are getting in. They got to grab the grenades and throw them out. And Dolph is whooping and hollering and having fun and smiling. And, are we having fun yet? Just throwing more and more shit. And going through these more narrow roads where if you sneeze, you don't fall down these long-ass, cliff-looking, and they're out in the desert. Just really great chase sequence. And the bus flips over, and Van Damme's able to get a gun, shoot, pop, 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 able to get out the prison bus and the vehicle that Dolph, and I believe it was Ralph Muller driving, topples over. And long story short, they finally get to Van Damme's home. They see his mom and dad, and very nice scene. Great usage of the music. I thought the music was well done in the scene. How, oh my god, my son is alive, and doesn't go too mushy, doesn't need it, but it was there just enough. Now, before I get into the ending, let me talk about the alternate ending. The alternate ending is pretty much the fight between Dolph and Van Damme that I'm going to talk about in a bit was much shorter. Pretty much everything in the barn was not in the original ending. You find out that Van Damme's parents were not his parents, they were actors. Jerry Orbach is really a bad guy, and they corner Van Damme and fuck him up badly. And then you realize that because of something, he is rapidly aging and being sick. He's going to die soon, but at least he's going to spend some moments with Ali Walker. It's just, what is this? Trying to be King Kong? Is that what it's trying to be? Some King Kong shit? Or fucking Steel Magnolias? Terms of Endearment shit? What is... It just did not fit. I know the director and writer were talking about how the test screening really hated that ending, and it makes sense. You have a fun action scene, and it really feels like you hit a sharp curve. And the ending they have here is much better. Because they have some nice dialogue between each other, and then Dolph Lundgren comes back. Van Damme's, it's late at night, it's raining, Van Damme's wondering what's going on. Ali Walker's tied up, his parents are tied up in the barn. And you have a great back and forth between Van Damme and Dolph. Dolph's beating the shit out of Van Damme, and when he pretty much ready to almost knocked out, says, "We should shoot this traitor's bitch. Where we gonna shoot her? In the stomach? No. In the chest? Nah. How about in the head? Bang! It's empty! It's empty!" And then you get that, well, I like that. They do very nice callbacks. What happened at the beginning? Dolph threw the grenade, killed a girl. What happens here? Dolph throws a grenade. We think that Ali Walker's dead, and Van Damme gets pissed and does some really nice flying kicks and really good kicks. Nice flying kicks. Just, I miss those kind of stuff. Great usage of slow-mo. And then I believe in the original ending, he did this, and then Dolph Lundgren is wobbly and says, "You're dead, soldier" line, and then Van Damme continues to kick his ass, and he dies. Dolph dies. But no, here, it changes because, I like this bit, Dolph goes, "Well, that's a spirit soldier," grabs him, just throws him right into the barn. And that's where you find the parents tied up, and this is definitely where we're getting into the additional photography they shot. And just, this really makes the fight. I love this fight. Yeah, nitpick is I wish Dolph Lundgren would have done more martial arts. He does more upper body strength. But man, compared to shit like Expendables 2, this fight is excellent. It really is such an epic fight. With the music and the build-up and the dialogue, and of course these guys are really physically equipped to put up a great fight. Great usage of slow-mo when it's needed. Dolph was using sort of, pretty much think of it as super steroids, and then Van Damme's able to get it and pump himself up. And then you have that great line where Dolph goes, "Say goodnight, asshole," hits him a couple times. "Good night, asshole." And now it's the comeback. Great music build up, just back and forth, pop, pop, pop. Kicks, punches, hitting Van Damme, but then Van Damme snaps back with back of his hand, jumping up, kicking both his legs in his chest. Dolph's grabbing someone, hitting Van Damme, nice back and forth. Van Damme punching the shit out of Dolph's face, jump kick through the fucking barn. Another great line, "You're dead, soldier." No, I'm alive. Just beats the shit out of him. Great roundhouse kicks, 360 kicks. I'm not sure if he used it. I know he used a 360 kick during the fight, but I'm not sure if he did the second time around. It might have been just the first time around. I don't think he did a 360 kick there. It was more just really just kind of like what he did with Attila and Lionheart. But if I had to pick, I love both fights, but if I had to pick, I'd probably put in this one. Maybe just it's Dolph Lundgren. Just beating the shit out of him, kick him in the stomach, kick him in the head. And you do have a little bit of that old school, pa pa pa, the editing. Until Dolph lands into this, I don't know if it's a thresher, I'm not sure what the actual farming equipment's called. Dolph's impaled, you think he's dead, Van Damme gets closer, Dolph grabs him. And Van Damme just breaks his fucking hand. Really, again, a nice grisly effect. Ready to turn the machine on. You're discharged, Sarge. Throws it. Dolph goes into bits and pieces. And we find out Ali Walker's alive. And she's like, where is he? And he goes, around. And they hug. Really nice bit with nice crescendo of the music. Great last bit of dialogue. So how do you feel? Like a 50-year-old. And that's really the clincher that shows that he has regained his humanity back. Because during this fight, he's showing emotion. When he thought Ali Walker's dead, he was pissed off and angry. That's why I miss in fights. Especially from people like Van Damme. I miss being pissed off during a fight and yelling just, yeah, yeah, yeah. Not just, no, give me some emotion. Yeah, yeah, fuck you, you know. Brings more to the fight. The anger and emotion just makes the fight better, that much better for it. Ends on a great high note. You have a really cool song by Ice-T and a band he had called Body Count, which I thought this was the only song they had done when I first saw this way back in the day, when I was like 9 or 10 years old. But I had the CD over there, the Body Count CD, where he actually did more songs. They're rap, but they're also hard rock, like hard rock heavy metal, which I thought was a nice sort of combination. I mean, I never knew Ice-T did that. I mean, I should have from this song, but that he did more. That would have been nice for someone to ask Ice-T about that CD. But great song, Body Count, Body Count, Body Count in the house, Body Count, Body Count in the house, Body Count. Body count in the house, which fits the film well. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, there's a music video which has Van Damme and Dolph in it as well. I think they're Ice-T's bodyguards or something to that nature. So I thought that was really cool. I mean, and ends with a great. I just love this movie. I love this movie to death. I think it's an awesome flick, badass flick. Dolph Lundgren having such a fun, so much joy in his performance. You can tell he had a lot of fun being the bad guy. I think Van Damme does a solid job acting-wise. I'd actually say that with a straight face. I like the story. I like Ali Walker. I think she was likable. I like the sense of humor. It gave some levity to it. But he also had some good action set pieces as well. Went at a smooth pace. I never got bored. Roland Emmerich did a great job directing this. Christopher Frank did a solid job on the score. Fit the film like a glove. And one of my favorite Van Damme films. Definitely in my top 5. It's hard to pick where I put this, but I know it would be in my top 5. Like Hard Target's number 1. I know this would be maybe number 3. If you wonder what number 2 is, I'll talk about that maybe in a future video. Because I think my second favorite is Cyborg, but that's a personal favorite of mine. That's just a film that just speaks to me ever since I was a kid. So I think Hard Target's my number 1. I know that. Cyborg's number 2. I think this is gonna be my number 3. Just a badass movie. Great villain for Venom to fight. Great hero for Dolph to fight. It's a high-tech zombie movie. It's a badass one at that. I love the film. Can't speak highly enough of it. And that's why I say fuck regeneration and directing, because it said, oh, hey, you like Luke Devereaux? Fuck him. No, fuck you, movies. To me, this is the best one. There's a reason why it has the highest rating on IMDb, thankfully. Although it has like a 5.9, it deserves much higher than that. I'm sorry, 5.9 is bullshit. It deserves much higher. It's a badass, epic film. It's a classic. I just say that with a straight face. It's a classic action movie, Universal Soldier. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you in the next video. Later.